All right, I'm 31 years old, and this is something I've been struggling with lately. Since high school, I've never really had a problem getting women's attention. I played football, basketball, stayed in shape, worked hard, and honestly, I've dated women that a lot of men would consider their dream woman. But now that I'm getting older, I'm starting to question something. Do you actually need money to get the women of your dreams, or is it just my ego talking? I've never been a flashy guy. I don't spend a lot of money because I don't feel the need to. But when I think about the future, I wonder if I'm cheating the woman of my dreams out of the life she deserves. If I met the perfect woman tomorrow, would she be settling because I can't provide the lifestyle she imagined? Or am I putting too much pressure, get away from me, or am I putting too much pressure on myself because society tells men that their value is tied to their bank account? When I was younger, women seemed attracted to me for me. Now I'm wondering whether that's enough anymore. Is a man's job to be loved for who he is or to provide the life his partner dreams about? At what point does wanting financial success become responsibility? And at what point does it become ego?
I think that this was a. Oh, was I not? I think that this is a good question from a guy. I also don't think that guys, which I understand why this is a question for someone at 31 years old. But at 31 years old, you really should be figuring out what you want in life and not what the girl of your dreams wants. Because if you're not secure in yourself and if you don't have your shit together for you, figuring out what you want and how you can make a life for yourself, how can you do anything for anybody else? So what do you deem financially successful? Because are you living in good means? Like, are you doing well for yourself? Is it possible that you can make more money to achieve things that you want in life? Because if that's things that you want, then sure, obtain those goals. And then maybe when you do, you know, meet somebody, then you guys would be a good match.
I don't think that's his question. His question is about, you got it. Go ahead.
That's what to say. It's more about you finding the person who loves you for you. And that goes for both ways, women and men. The thing is, when it comes to money and for women, looks, both of those things could disappear in an instant. And you need to be with someone who loves you regardless of whether you have those things. So if you're trying to find someone who's only going to love you because you have your shit in order when things could go awry, you're not going to last regardless. So trying to fit an image, regardless of what that image is, you're going to be miserable forever. You need
But
to find someone who loves you for
I
you.
think that it's a little bit more complex than that because, of course, we love people for who they are. But as you get older, is that enough? Because
It should be.
he said when he was younger, like, yeah, he had all of these things going for him. He was yeah, he was the man. He plays all of these sports in school. Yeah, that's everything. I'm sure everybody liked him. But it's like as you get older, yes, you do want to know especially at 31 and you're, dating a little bit more seriously, you do want to know that this man that you are potentially going to date has value.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know what you're bringing to the table.
You should aim to be happy in what you have and who you can get. Goes back to the conversation of being realistic. If you know that you can only make up to $120,000 a year, don't aim for the woman who's going to want someone who makes millions. But also don't look for someone who is trying to take all your money from you either. The person who's going to be with you is the person who's going to stick with you regardless of whether you have that money or not. If you guys get married and something happens, you get laid off from your job, is she going to leave you because you no longer have that money anymore? Or is she going to stay with you because she loves you for you and help you get back on your feet no matter how much time goes by? Women and men. A woman, if this is a woman talking, oh, I got to get prettier so that I can get the man of my dreams. What happens if something happens to you and you're like, there's nothing you can do to be quote unquote pretty anymore? You need to be with that person who's going to love you regardless, because if they are only with you for one thing, then they're going to leave you when that one thing disappears. You have to communicate with people. Hey, what are you expecting out of me? And they also ask you that question, and then you go from there. I don't leaving that space empty for just up.
So you're trying to guess the movie. I felt it.
Yeah, so a couple of things stood out to me by reading this. In his first paragraph, he said, I've dated women that a lot of men would consider their dream woman, right? But we're talking about you right now. And in talking about you, it seems like everything is just coming just based off of your ego and based off of what you believe you have to provide financially.
Mhm.
But you're not speaking to the character of the woman you're looking for, but more or less on you being the provider. And I'm curious to know where you got that nonsense from, because you ain't got to do all that. Because, I say go to the gym, read some books, work on yourself, become emotionally intelligent, go to therapy. None of that shit is listed here. And I think that's the issue, because now you're asking, okay, now that I'm older, you're wondering whether that's enough anymore. And fact is, it isn't enough anymore. And it's clear because your body and your mind and your brain is telling you, like, the looks ain't enough anymore. Because if you were going to the gym and if you were an athlete and if you were doing everything physically, you probably ran through them already. So you probably know what's going on in their brain and how they move and how they act. So it's clear that, like, you want more, which means you have to do more. And that seems like an internal job more than this whole
Yeah.
ego shit that you're talking.
It's a lot of inner work that has to happen there, because it's everything is what you said, what other people would consider their dream girls, and him thinking about what his woman would want. Nothing is. It's like he doesn't know what to do with himself,
Yeah.
like what he wants for himself.
Yeah. And he even asks, like, money to get the woman of your dreams? Like, so you already know the woman of your dreams is all about money.
Or you're assuming that that's what it takes to get a woman, period. That
Yeah.
your value is tied to your money, which I'm pretty sure, yeah, that is what he heard.
Yeah. And just like I said last week, like, the fact that you've gone to the gym and you've kept yourself in shape, like, you have a different social profile than 90% of the people when you walk into the room. So you're already ahead of the game. You just have to do more inner work, I think. That's just my opinion, and I guess you're right for my opinion, but I'm just not the type of man to do all this extra shit and think like that's going to be enough. And now on top of that, I'm going to wonder, damn, is my paycheck enough? Because that don't even make sense. That don't even register to me. Also, even when you do shit like that and you're at your top tier and you feel that you can't go any higher, and then you meet somebody that you feel is above you, then you're going to have that battle, that internal struggle, and you're going to know that there's other niggas out there. There's always going to be an NBA or NFL or some type of ball player after this type of woman. So why are you even basing all that on finances? Because how do you know she didn't run through them already? And she's looking to get out of the game and find somebody like you. And it just don't make no sense to do all that. I can't see it. I wouldn't do it. I would
All
never.
the extra stuff.
I'm never looking for what the woman of my dreams and how I could provide for her. That's just a wrong, like, mindset. Because what about yourself? Because now, and we in June's Men's Mental Health Month. Like, that's the shit that kills niggas, because you doing all this extra stuff and never even speaking about, like, what you are feeding yourself, like how you nurturing your brain. You just putting more load on the back of your. It's crazy. You're just putting more. I caught myself. Excuse me about that. Yeah, excuse me.
Yo.
You're just putting more stress on you, and we stressed enough, and don't do that. Like, I wish we could just take. I know he wrote in, but I just wish we could just make this a person. Because how about we just say, listen, I'm coming to you with the best version of myself, or I'm still working on the best version of myself, and I'm hoping that we get together and we could move this, you know what I mean, like, move this timeline together, as opposed to, I expect this and you got to have this, because that's just not realistic, because you're setting yourself up with these expectations of failure from the gate. And It's just too much pressure. Like y'all putting too much pressure on this whole dating thing before you even start dating. And I wouldn't do that. Like I'm gonna meet you, we're gonna have a good time. Hopefully you ask me the right questions, and I'm gonna ask you the right questions. You give it up to me on the first date or you don't, and we take it from there. I know it's crazy, but that's the reality. Like,
What?
I know, sorry.
Why are we giving it up on the first
I said,
date?
or you don't.
Yeah, but why is that even an option?
I'm just saying it may be what happens. And if it doesn't, it's fine. But why? Because what if you was feeling me?
But why are you so open to having sex with someone you just met?
I'm horny.
That's gross.
It's the truth. I know you don't like the truth, but like,
Let's not do that. I like the
Okay.
truth. The truth is very much something that I live my life by. But
She's 25.
You're right.
we have to stop doing that. I am old
'Cause,
enough
girl,
to
we
know right
we
from
are
wrong.
so past the girl. People do it.
And I know they do, but this is how things get spread. Like, why are we doing things like this? There
you
is
leading
such thing as oral herpes. Like, why are we doing things with people that we don't know? Or like, you don't know if she just sucked dick right before she came to this date, and now you're kissing her in the mouth. Like, why are we doing these things?
So,
Right.
yeah, but
Exactly.
also, how would you like all of this to be prevented for them to come on a second date with their results from the
We can go on
gynecologist?
multiple dates, and I get to know your character more and have the knowledge to know, hey, maybe I shouldn't do this with this person because they move kind of crazy, right? Or if you are even more careful, yes, you can ask someone for their test results. I feel like that's a very valid thing to ask for, especially in this day and age. Everybody got all types of shit now.
date 2 or date 1 for you?
I don't know about that.
I'm talking
I don't know
about
nobody
date
that got
3,
nothing.
4, maybe. If you really want to get into that, that's perfectly fine. I feel like people do not take their health seriously enough nowadays. Like, why are we just jumping into bed with people we don't know? People are actually dirty,
It's the
regardless of whether or not you
hormones.
actually have.
Sometimes it
You
really
don't
gets
know
there.
what, regardless of what people have, people are just dirty. People haven't taken showers in 3 days, and you're jumping
Ooh.
into bed with people.
I'm sure you would smell that.
This is not my experience.
You speaking.
I'm just
You would
saying
you
that
would smell
people-
that though.
you
Ain't nobody
not-
want to kiss on nobody with yuck
Niggas
breath.
be washing up at the sink with a washcloth and only wash their ass crack. Like, you don't know what people do in their free time, and you're jumping into bed with this person who may not have flossed ever in their life, and now you got all that shit in your mouth too. Like, why are we doing this?